We met at an English-speaking server World of Warcraft. Warsong. Me and Nikita, yes. Yes, we started to play together, then we made our own guild. So for some time it continued. Then it turned out that both live in St. Petersburg and both are programmers. Yes, we're both programmers. And on this basis, there were some offline meetings. We met and started to communicate more closely. My way to game dev began with Warcraft, because I made a website for World of Warcraft called wowdata.ru. It was a clone of wowhead.com, but in Russian. We have decided to repeat the success of WowData and began to make similar sites for Lineage 2. Lineage 2. Then we tried one for Warhammer Online, also Aeon. We tried, but they didn't make it, so we turned them quickly. At that moment, we on the one hand realized that we are both programmers. On the other hand, began to try to do something together with Nikita. Yes, try to earn any money, yes. And then I looked at the video from the GDC, Game Developers Conference, in 2009, or maybe 2010. Probably 2010, yes. And it was about social games. About these flash games and VK Kontakt. I then ran over to Nikita and said, I know where a lot of money. We can now make lots of it. Let's do it. Yes, and without any knowledge of how to make the game, why is the game made? We just decided to make it. Making the first project, we took as a basis a combination of two mechanics. It is my brute mechanics and mechanics of maybe half a year before it came out on Spore 2D, where you need to create your creature with pieces in the editor. We combined it, made a game that was called Micronia, where you had to create your monster and fight with it. We bought art on freelance, yes, because neither of us can draw. We took server to PHP. Yes, the game didn't work, so to speak. Well, it somehow started. But our expectations were not met, so to speak. We have it sold some of the guys just in a couple of months for a small amount of money, even then. Well, yes, I mean, this money is probably equal to one salary of one person. And we made it in about 6 months. Also, I've been working all this time. Yes, Nikita worked all this time in the company which is engaged in industrial automation. And of course, we made games in spare time. So we took the same office in the business center on the floor above. Above, I guess? Or lower? Well, it doesn't matter. We had 2 tables and 2 laptops back there. We went there and worked together, so we could cooperate. So I've been working until 5:30 p.m., and then I went up and we've been making the game until 10 to 11 p.m. I didn't have a main job, just some money from this Warcraft site. We've been working on with Nikita, and right after the first social game, it didn't work. We decided it was too much experimentation. Yeah. And then in the second one, we'll do it right. We decided to clone the very famous and popular back then Cityville on Facebook and make it more meaningful, I guess. Yeah, not meaningful. We just wanted to steal all out. Yeah, why? We're not fools after all. We decided that we want more projects. And decided that it would be good to get artists into the team. We didn't have much money. And then we found Sasha. Or Sasha found us. Yes, at some forum, I guess. I think it was some forum, right? You invited me then. That we would like to give a very small salary to him and Sasha would have a final profit later. Which unfortunately turned out to be 0. We then went to the Flash GAMM conference at Moscow. And as we agreed to work with a major social publisher, our work failed. I don't know why it happened. They trashed the game. And slowly, it just, well, yeah, it was gone. It was 2011, I think, or 2012. Yes, that's it. Then you wrote an article on habrahaber.ru about how to move on, that everything is bad. I thoroughly wrote our history in details. What we were left with, and then several companies responded. Yes, that is already engaged in the mobile market mainly. And with a company from Moscow, Game Garden, we started making F2P game for mobile platforms. We've done it in about a year, right? I mean, working on this free-to-play game. Actually, with money that we have earned, I've been able to leave the main job and focus completely on the Punch Club. We finally have been able to pay Sasha. Yes, we tried a few other projects when completed the social game. Then we had a spare time in the evenings. We first wanted to make some space game. Ships, asteroids, and eventually stopped on the idea of the VHS story. I think it didn't have a name back then. Well, yeah, boxing manager, as you said. Yeah, it was more like a game dev story. No, I'd better tell you from my point of view. Because we had a period when we released the F2P game, it started to make some money. And we had the idea to create a project. We tried to make a prototype of a game. It wasn't very good. Second one, third, we were in that kind of period, searching for ideas. And one day, Nikita came into the office and said, "I know what kind of game we are going to make." So I told him, "Well, Nikita, can we discuss it?" And he says, "No, I'll tell you the idea and you'll understand that this is what we've been looking for." And then Nikita told me the Punch Club idea. Yeah, well, that this game is a boxing manager, and the main reference was the Rocky series. His ascending, starting from the bottom up to the title. Well, in the end, of course, the game was perhaps not the same as we imagined it on the first day. But we've managed to make some kind of atmosphere. First of all, we would like to convey this particular atmosphere, a sense of nostalgia, all our childhood, so to speak. All the films, the adventure games, all of it. So actually, that's why we chose pixel art. Lots of devs choose pixel art to make it easier, but we've chosen pixel art to, well, that too is the major factor, that drawing pixel art is faster and less expensive. In the end, I think it's not. But if it wasn't pixel art, I think it would be even harder. Well, now no one knows how much time would be spent. Maybe now Punch Club 3 will be in 3D. We had to develop a complete vision of the game from the very beginning. And because it didn't actually work with pixel art, I needed to understand the approach of drawing it. So I was completely improvising. At first I did all of this in sketches, without making it in pixels, so I could see the details, to grasp the scale, perspective of the scene, and so on. I had to figure out how to animate pixel art characters. That's how I went from a sketch to a pixel. And of course, the idle animation. 3 pictures, barely visible changes, but I originally drew that sketch on a larger scale. It's a constructor that we needed later. Because we needed to create characters with small effort. Accordingly, we have come up with such kind of editor where you can change clothes and make simple manipulations to create new characters. And, well, when I drew a new character, I used the previous animation file. For example, the same as the protagonist. I roughly copied it, altered, or redrew a little, and thus inherited animation. At this point, we've also focused on Mortal Kombat, with them using some tricks. We wanted to try to make dynamic lighting, and then I tried to simulate the height map to make, well, we experimented so it was possible to make dynamic lighting. So apart from this experiment, it wasn't going anywhere because the further I got, the more I understood that it actually turned out to be time-consuming, and for each character to draw a map, each frame of the animation, it takes a very long time. All this, of course, comes alive in animations. For example, we have a raccoon. And here's a cat waving its tail. I don't know whether all have noticed Jay and Silent Bob. They are animated, standing on the street. I'm not sure if anyone noticed it. One of the main tasks was the interface. At some point, we even wanted to make it not in pixels, but with vectors. Here is a first sketch of the map, the city map, and here is the interface variants as well. And this one is more detailed, and it has some battle interface. It is still a variant of vector interface. And so it happened that Sasha began to draw, we have something pondered, and then, in 2014, the game's Jam Canavu was announced, and we decided that it's an occasion for us to mobilize. And within a month, make some kind of a playable game version to realize some basic ideas that we wanted to lay in it. We got together and actually made a playable version, which we then took to Games Jam Kenobu Grand Prix, and it has inspired and stimulated us. Right after that, I left the main job and fully focused on the development of Punch Club. It can be said that the development of Punch Club was a hobby, but Sasha painted on a full-time. There was a time when we came to work at 8:30 a.m. and left at 8 p.m. Yeah, Sasha came in somewhere around 12 p.m. 11. We made it, trying to reference as much as possible, to make a lot of humor in the game. Initially, we had read marketing book by Sergey Galyonkin, and from the very beginning, we have an account on Twitter in all forms, and tried as much as we could to somehow present ourselves with our indie resources. Even Sergey said that we did everything right, and for indie, we had good coverage. Basically, we came to some expos, and of course no one recognized us, but said they had heard about us. By the way, at some point, we've met Rami Ismail at DevGam. As always, Rami goes out from the audience. A lot of people around him. Rami, let me show you my game. And here among all of these people, we showed him the Punch Club. I don't remember, I think it was on iPad. And he said, I saw it on the forum. Yes, he said that from everything that's been shown to him. I saw your work. Yeah, I saw you, I know you. So we did everything right. Initially, we planned to publish as a true indie by ourselves, and planned in general focusing more on the PC version. Then again, in one of the dev games, we participated in a game lynch. In this game lynch, we had a conversation with Alex Nishiporchik of TinyBuild. And we decided after this conversation that we will be published with them. And they've helped us greatly in terms of some of its peer review, evaluation of our project. We consulted a lot with them, but they actually didn't cut our ideas in terms of creativity and the creative process. We had complete freedom, but they have helped us greatly. And so it happens that the mobile version of the game came out almost simultaneously with the Steam version. They told us it would be a good idea. And again, with their help, the idea of Twitch integration came out, which, in my opinion, very much helped us at the launch. The result of working with TinyBuild is great. Many here are asking, but why do we need a publisher? Is it worth it to be published with a publisher? But in our case, definitely yes, definitely. The publisher brought us a huge start. Well, yes. Yeah, I mean, we sat there and thought of the portions which we gave to publishers. I mean, roughly speaking, the presence of the publisher, of that representative, even the English-speaking one, which, after all, we are not completely understood by. Or perhaps we don't fully understand there are some laws, how to deal with YouTubers and streamers. So the presence of a publisher, such as TinyBuild, we thought that the percentage that we gave them should be compensated at the expense of sales growth, simply because they can provide us with a greater marketing coverage. We felt personal attitude. Well, firstly, we talk with Alex in Russian. We don't have a language barrier. And on the other hand, we felt that the guys believed this project too, as it were his own, right? Yeah. We felt that the guys believed this project too. So they are invested. They are with us and spent a lot of time. They are communicated, tested. They helped with the English language, with the adjustment, with some jokes. Yes, they even invented some jokes, some dialogues in the game. Our DLC, in which our hero becomes a superhero, it was indirectly made by them. Because there was just one of the staff in Tiny Build who wrote the dialogues for the cat. Just when the hero takes drugs, anabolics, and beneath them, comes home, Cat talks to him, and from these dialogues with the cat, the story for the Dark Fist was born. We are very satisfied with cooperation. Basically, we're planning to cooperate with Tiny Build in the future, right? Yes. The story of Twitch is a completely other thing. It was basically just a joke. We initially planned to make chat voting responsible for some things. Slava jokingly said, let the chat completely play it through. We had a TV in the office constantly playing Twitch, and here at the same time. We just somehow saw Twitch plays Pokemon, where the chat selects for Pokemon. Voted and they're fighting with these Pokemon. And then I jokingly said, let's make Plays Punch Club just as them. Yep, and Alex said, exactly, don't release the game until Twitch will complete it. So it was a joke, everyone laughed. And then the next day, we thought, well, it's basically a good idea. Let's do it. And we did. It spent probably about a month to prepare the integration of Twitch. Then, after the release, there was quite the scandal on Steam Forum, where people were shouting, swearing, that we hold them hostage. We hold them hostage to some people on Twitch who passed the game and something. Total Biscuit made the review, called all those people idiots. Later, however, he said our game is the worst game that he played, but he spent 12 hours sitting on a toilet playing it. I don't know if he said it was a waste of time or not, but it was funny. Actually, yeah, it's funny. If you play 12 hours, and then it's very strange. Why would you play it for 12 hours? Yeah. The idea that we'll only release when Twitch will pass the game was wrote by, I guess, almost everyone. Well, the scandal, too. Well, scandal, yes. I think everyone who helped wrote about it, and with this, we had some kind of a boosted release. Well, you know how it is. You make something, and then turns out that you didn't make everything as you wanted. You didn't have enough time. Something should be different. Interface sucks. Well, yeah, that too. And in the end, Punch Club was conceived much better than it turned out to be. But so many people were satisfied. We've received a lot of letters. It was damn nice when people from all over the world, from Brazil, the US, Germany, wrote a letter and said that this is the coolest game that they played. That it's very cool, thank you, waiting for new projects. By the way, just so you know, when you make games for 2 years, and we made Punch Club in 2 years, then 2 years later you already get tired of the project. On the other hand, you don't have enough confidence, see? It's a cat in a bag for you, yeah. You don't know how you sell. Will it be 1,000 or 100,000 copies? And when you're in such an uncertainty, it is difficult to motivate yourself. To motivate yourself and make some more features that you'd like. You just want to release as soon as possible. And yeah, it's like Indie Game, the movie, and other kinds of these movies. They're showing us all the time how guys crunch in the last 2 months before release. We had a little bit the opposite situation. Over the past 2 months, we have already overclocked, and it's already moved out of inertia. And closer to finish, our work rate has dropped. Well, this is due to the publisher. Well, I don't know about that. He actually urged us, because if it's not for him, we would sit and spit at the ceiling, thinking about how bad it is. Well, yes, it is also a good thing that the publisher still gave us some actual deadlines. Once we moved the agreed period, by the way, we had everything planned for the autumn of the previous year, 2015. But we went in Steam and the CBT, gained feedback, and realized that there are some problems that we must solve, and so we took a break to finalize the game and postponed release at the beginning of the 2016. This too was the right decision. In the last month we were fixing some bugs, but so to say, it'd be impossible to do much more polished game. But moral strength is not enough. Because we really didn't know and haven't believed and feared wishing for something. 2 years of work. We were so tired, we just wanted to release quickly. The different thing, a new wave of adrenaline in the last week, when you have to have everything. Early release and some bug fixes, and that's just the 2 days when Twitch played Punch Club. Our publisher's from the United States, and we are in Russia. So we were watching it as if we were changing shifts. Build wasn't without its flaws. He crashed sometimes. A computer with this build was in Holland, and we had to access through TeamViewer to make some changes. And at the end, there was still the situation when Twitch almost passed Punch Club. I should say this, before the start of the Twitch Plays Punch Club, Alex came to us and asked, "Guys, what do you think? How long will it take for Twitch to beat the game?" We calculated and said, well, 5 days if they cooperate. But, since most likely they are all idiots, it will undergo a week or even more. And Alex is like, oh good. And we launched it, I think, on Thursday, Friday night, and on Friday day in the US, respectively. And Steam doesn't release games on Saturday, Sunday. And with the earlier scandal, it was... Yes, and we have promised that as soon as Twitch Pass will release. And the most dangerous thing was that if Twitch completed it on Friday evening or Saturday, and we weren't physically able to release, and that this pause in the day and a half, it'd be a time when everyone would hate us for it because we're not released. And so the guys back there are literally conducting chat saying, train this, go there. Basically, chat was good on its own. I mean, they're better than the average player. Yeah, we counted on 5 days, and the chat finished it in 36 hours. As a result, they passed the game, and on Friday night, we released, and on this background, we stayed there all weekend in the popular updates to hit the top of sales. Well, it was great. Many reviews by YouTubers. Because suddenly, the YouTuber or streamer playing Punch Club was so popular, and it's not a fast game, quite meditative. And it allows the player to communicate with the chat, something to discuss, some jokes, tactics. And in this format, for most streamers, it was appropriate. And it was streamed a lot in the first months. And there was a lot of Let's Play on YouTube. YouTube and Twitch. This is the progress engine for indie games today. Well, at least it turned out for the Punch Club. In fact, there's a story with the Punch Club that can't be repeated. Because there was a lot of, but we'd really like to, refers to marketing, yeah. Because so many things came together, some by pure chance, and this scandal has worked for us, and Twitch Plays Punch Club, and the fact that they have been, in fact, much faster than planned. Yes, everything turned out fine. I don't know, now we have widened slightly. There were 3 people. Now we are 8. And we're trying to do several parallel projects. We do continue Punch Club, and trying to make more. A number of parallel projects, yes, yet unannounced. And of course, we hope that the second Punch Club will be deprived of all the problems to which users, the players of the first Punch Club, complained. And it's about to become that game, which was supposed to be on the idea of the first Punch Club. Before we released the Punch Club, I heard a lot of people, and many developers, said that, hey guys, if you think that the release operation is over, then you are deeply mistaken, because the work has just begun. And these words were just, I didn't really believe in them. As for me. Then we released the Punch Club on Steam. We realized that yes, indeed it is, because it was probably the most intense month in association with the community. Yes, for us with Nikita, tuning game for bug fixes. Yeah, because we literally made new builds every 2 days, which fixed the bugs. We were answering consistently to everyone in the community, all the players who had something problems. We repaired saves for someone and send their email. Yes, plus we made a DLC in a month and a half, and it was also quite intensely. It was 2 months, I guess. Yeah, something like that. That's why we were nervous. Yeah, it's Punch Club 2. First, we started to do it as the DLC, but then I realized it's right and fair to our fans to do the second part, to make something actually new, to correct our mistakes. And to try and bring the game to a new level. So it's not just some story DLC, but all new mechanics, some changes in the gameplay. We have announced that we are working on something, but it's not clear yet. We put the screenshots on the Twitter and so on, but never actually said something about Punch Club 2.